Hi, fifth graders. We're on lesson 6 of unit 1. Here I am on page 15 of my SAB, of my student activity book. And today we're practicing adding mixed numbers. We'll also be looking at subtracting mixed numbers. Now this is review from 4th grade, and they start out pretty easy. However, as soon as we have to regroup, it gets pretty tricky. So let's look at number 1. Let's look at an easy one first. It says 4 1/9 plus 2 1/9. So if I'm looking at that, I know that I have to add my whole numbers to each other. I know I have to add my numerators to each other. And I know that the denominators stay the same. And you'll notice that all of the problems, the denominators are common. They're common denominators, so we know that they'll stay the same. We won't have to worry about changing them. So 4 plus 2 are my whole numbers. That's 6. Then I take my numerators, 1 plus 1, 2, and then again showing that my denominator stays the same. So pretty simple. The problem is that we quickly get to answers where we see an improper fraction here, where we see a fraction where the numerator is greater than the denominator. This one's not. This one's okay because 2 is less than 9, so I don't have to make any changes. I don't have to regroup. Let's check out number 7. Anytime that we need to regroup, it's really a good idea to rewrite our problem. This is probably going to look familiar to you. And when you show your work, this is how I expect to see it. So if you need to grab a piece of scrap paper, if you don't have enough space, that's totally fine. The reason we practice setting them up like this is because when we switch to changing to common denominator, this will be a good setup. Also with subtraction, it's a good setup. For now, we actually don't need this extra line here, but keep in mind that we'll be using it later on in the unit. So 3 plus 4. Taking my numerators, 3 plus 4 equals 7, and then my whole numbers, 1 plus 2 equals 3, and the denominator, 5 stays the same. Remember, Puzzle Penguin is always making that mistake of adding the denominators together. We definitely don't want to do that. We want to keep them the same. Okay, what's wrong with my answer here? What's wrong with this mixed number? Aha, hopefully you notice that the fraction part of it is improper. The numerator is greater than the denominator. So we have to fix that. You should know that we set up a division problem. If you don't, that's okay, but just make sure that you pay super close attention because this is something we went over in 4th grade. And you're looking at how many times does 5 go into 7? 5 goes into 7 once. 5 times 1 equals 5. Sister subtraction, 7 minus 5 equals 2. Okay, now you would think that we would just put the 2 as a remainder, but remember what we're trying to do, and we learned about this last week, is we're changing it to a mixed number. So the 2 comes up and becomes the numerator. You've got to put your line in there for your fraction, for your mixed number. Geez, I'm making that one a little weird. Okay, and then the denominator stays the same. So looking over here, I see that my denominator was 5. You can also notice that your divisor, the number out here, is your denominator. So that's my answer, right? 1 2/5. It is not my answer because 1 2/5 is only the 7/5 part. That's it. So what do I have to do to include this 3? I have to add it. 3 plus 1 2/5. So basically you're just thinking about 3 plus 1 here, your whole numbers. We've already used the 7/5, so you might want to cross that out so it's not confusing. 3 plus 1 equals 4. And then I keep my 2/5, 4 2/5. So that was number 7 here. If I would have just written 3 7/5, that would not have been correct. It's not regrouped properly. You can't have a mixed number with an improper fraction inside it. It's not mathematically correct. We have to simplify it. So you might hear teachers say you've got to simplify that. We're going to be saying a lot you have to regroup that because you are changing, you're not reducing a fraction, you're regrouping it. Okay, so we say 3 7/5 equals 4 and 2/5. It would also be okay just to write 4 and 2/5 because we know that that 3 and 7/5 is not the correct way to do it. Okay, so that's regrouping with mixed numbers when you end up with an improper fraction. Now let's check out subtracting. We have to regroup in subtracting of mixed numbers too. But first, let's start with an easy example again. So let's look at number 10. It says 3 and 2/3 minus 1 and 1/3. So we do the exact same thing, except we're subtracting this time. 3 minus 1 equals 2. So I've subtracted my whole numbers. Here in the numerator, 2 minus 1 equals 1. And then again, the denominator stays the same. So this is a great answer. It's good to go. I don't have to do any regrouping. It was easy to do the 2 minus 1. I'm set. Look at number 11. So right away, number 11, we see that there is something that's going to make it difficult. Yes, we can do 5 minus 3, but can we do 1 minus 5? No. Okay, so again, you've got to set your work up on these. If you don't, well, for one thing, you're not showing your work properly, and I expect you to show your work properly. But another thing is it does really get confusing as we get into higher fractions this year. Okay, so remember earlier I had that extended line. Really, we don't need that until we have denominators that are different from each other. But right now we have common denominators, so we're okay. All right, so 5 minus 3 equals 2. And now I immediately run into the tricky part. I can't do 1 minus 5. Now in 3rd grade math and 2nd grade math, you would change the 1 to an 11 because you're in a base 10 system. But that's not the case here. What we're doing is we are trying to bring a whole number over here so that we have a larger number. So since we're in sixths, we have to bring, think about the magic one if you're in sixths, we would have to bring 6 sixths over, right? So we are going to cross off the 5, and we're going to take one whole number from 5. So in that way, the regrouping does look the same as the old regrouping you used to do when you're just doing regular subtraction. But remember, one whole number here is 6 sixths here. Think about it as you're taking a whole pizza and you're bringing it over here. The pizza happens to be cut in how many slices? 6. So 6 slices. We brought 6 sixths over, but we already have 1 sixth here. So it's like we're taking 1 sixth plus 6 sixths equals 7 sixths. Try saying that fast. So we change the 1 to a 7 because we need 7 sixths. A shortcut there is simply to look at your denominator and add up. So the 6 plus 1 equals 7. That is an easy way of doing it because you know you're bringing over this amount and then add the numerator. 6 plus 1 equals 7. Okay, so then we go into our subtraction. Now it's possible. 7 minus 5, we can do that. It's 2. And then our denominator again stays the same. Now in 5th grade, we are going to need to start always simplifying or reducing our fractions. So thinking about what can I divide both 2 and 6 by? First of all, I'll put my whole number there. I don't want to forget that. So 2 and something. Can these go any lower? Can I divide them both by 3? Nope, 2 divided by 3 doesn't work. Can I divide them both by 2? Yes, 2 divided by 2 equals 1. 6 divided by 2 equals 3. So my final answer there is 2 and 1/3. It's the same as number 1 was. 2 and 1/3. Oh wait, no. I should have 1 here. How many of you were thinking that the entire time you were watching this video? Very nice if you found that mistake. Good thing I double checked myself there. 1 and 1/3. All right, so that is how you regroup with subtraction when it's impossible to subtract the numerators in a mixed number problem. The next stuff that you'll be doing on this page and for this lesson is you'll have some real world problems. So you can see those there. Making sure that whether you're adding or subtracting, you're being careful with the regrouping like we just went over. Again, you've got 2 more back here. Yes, I do expect you to answer these and write the answers, including your labels, in your workbook. And then you've got a lovely problem from Puzzled Penguin. He says, this is a problem for my math homework. My teacher says my answer is not correct, but I can't figure out what I did wrong. Can you help me find and fix my mistake? So here he had 5 2/5, and he made it into 5 7/5. Did he do the right thing for the 7, first of all? He actually did. Let's zoom that in a little bit, because look, you would take 5/5 over, 5/5 plus 2/5 equals 7/5, because you're in fifths. So think again about that whole pizza. It just happens to be cut into 5 slices there. But what's wrong here? He forgot to change that 5 to a 4 because he borrowed from it. He took from the whole, so the 5 wholes has to become 4 wholes. And then of course that changes the answer down here as well. Okay, so you can see that I have put some marks there. You're welcome to put those marks on yours as well. However, in your response here, I should see a beautifully written letter, Dear Puzzled Penguin, comma, indenting, your friend, comma, all those things that we learn about in a friendly letter. It should be formatted just like his. All right, guys, good luck. Let me know if you have any questions.